Hey guys, welcome to an all new season of Talk Life with Teg. It's still your girl, the Eagle Girl, and today we have a special, a very wonderful guest with us who would like her to introduce herself briefly as we go on. So please, our beautiful, wonderful guest, can you introduce yourself?
Well, they can't see me, so.
Yeah, but I have to tell them.
Hello, everyone. My name is Irene Awa, and I am a pharmacist by education, a podcaster, and a content creator by passion, and an entrepreneur by choice.
Wow.
So I'm glad
So
to be here. Thank you very much.
thank you for being here with us. I mean, with such profile, we have a lot of sex from you.
Oh, I always find it very difficult to introduce myself. So when I just thought of this, I'm like, okay, I'm sticking with this for now.
Yeah, right. I can really relate. I just get lost. Okay, so today we'll be talking about women empowerment, and well, will I say coincidentally, we just go through International Women's Day and Mother's Day and all the rest of
All
it.
the
So
days.
yeah, I feel like this topic is very timely. So we'll just briefly do talk about a few points. I think first of all, we need to know what women empowerment is. No, when we talk about women empowerment, like, are we trying to make women physically strong, or give them power so that they have muscle? What exactly, what exactly is women empowerment? What exactly are we looking at when we say women empowerment?
Well, like the word implies, women empowerment, we are giving power to someone, we are giving power to something, and we are giving power to women because it is no news, it is no strange, thing that women have really been in the background of life, of
Yeah,
living in the society. And we've come to realize that, or this generation has come to realize that it's not supposed to be. So,
yeah,
how do we go about, bringing this gender to the front line? I think that's the whole concept of women empowerment.
women. Yeah. I like what you said about it. It's not supposed to be that. That's not how it was meant to be. Not even from
Yeah,
the beginning.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah. So the whole aim is to bring women up to let them know that they're not supposed to be in the background. They're
The
not supposed to
background,
be in the
exactly.
sidelines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in what aspect, or how do you think we can actually make this work? Like, in what
Hmm.
areas? Because life is really broad. So when we're talking about empowering women not to be in the background anymore, is it in one aspect of life or in every aspect of life?
Well,
And how do we?
I
Yeah.
think it's in every aspect because like being in the background, it's not like women when and are not there, but there was this thing that you only belong in the home. You belong,
Mm-hmm.
where like you are just someone that gives birth to children and then nurtures them. And
And that's
we're trying to say that it's more than that. Women can function, have the ability to function in all facets of life. You
yeah,
know, like literally all areas of life. So what the concept is doing, and truly, like in every organization today, this motion is being pushed directly or indirectly. That's to
yeah,
empower women. Like we're talking about, like some companies now have policies of like maybe like 50% male, 50% female, just trying to
yeah.
reduce
Just
that great divide
yes,
between
yes,
the genders in the settings of the world, in the play, the team, the fields of the world. So I think it's like in all aspects of life. Yeah.
in all aspects. Yeah. So it's
Because it
not,
can't only be
and
just one aspect.
yeah, it can be. I mean, we're everywhere, so we have to be come up to the front wherever we find ourselves, and not just lie at the background. So I was reading something, and it kind of categorized the aspect or whatever of women empowerment, trying to put it in different sections: social,
Okay.
educational, and political, and all. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think? Let's say when we're talking about in on the social aspect or even psychological aspect, how do we empower women in these different
Well,
categories
like
or aspects? Right.
that's a very good question. I'm really going to start with the psychological aspect because like everything starts in the mind. Women
Yes.
are well, this is not always true, but like just let me just I'm just speaking on a general note. Women are taught to be very timid and shy and insecure.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it comes to showing up and adding value and doing like creating things, even not just in the workspace, even in like themselves, their physical bodies and everything. We tend
Yeah.
to be more insecure and shy and timid and afraid
Great.
because
Yeah.
coming to that forefront is not something we have been doing or we have been allowed to do. So now that we
Well.
are coming out and doing like you really have to work on the mind of the woman, of the female, to be able
Mm-hmm.
to allow her or help her come out of herself and her fears and just so like talking about like you have a lot of and social media is really doing that these days, although I am of the opinion that everything should be moderate. So we're talking about women
Yeah.
empowerment. We are not talking about hate against like hating men.
No. No.
We
Of
are
course not.
empowering women. We don't hate men. So when like you will see a lot of concepts that are talking about women empowerment and then they are shading men, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's
Shady
not
men.
what
Yeah,
it's
that's
all about.
that's
So
what
yeah.
we're here for. Exactly.
Yeah. So like social media too has helped in that. You see a lot of pages, communities that like women communities that help each other to grow, in the mind and just make you feel like you can do anything you want to do, giving you
Mm-hmm.
that power to believe in yourself, you
Yeah.
know. So that I think that's the psychological empowerment, like making you feel
Empowerment.
like you have self-worth, building your confidence, your self-confidence. And then that just helps you to really come out when you come into the workspace, that now the world is beginning to accept you are able to show up and show up well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this starts from, I mean, it's something that should start at a younger age, because our minds are
Definitely.
formed, our perspectives are formed as we grow.
Yeah.
And depending on what we're taught as we're growing, depending on the environment we find ourselves, actually forms it builds us up, or a greater percentage of who we become as adults. It's because of
Yes.
what we've been taught. I read a
Oh,
quote
yeah.
from Gift Mona. Says, we always celebrate a great woman, but to be great, the girl child needs to be encouraged to excel from an early age.
Early
So
age,
if there
yes.
is that encouragement to excel is not there at an early age, they grow up and they find it difficult to now make that
Yes.
shift eventually.
Yes. It's
So
not
like you said,
impossible, but it's really difficult because you constantly have to fight those things that had like have been
they have been
embedded
limiting
in
you.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it starts in the mind. So I think that's where we all have to start, correct our mindset, and work with the younger generation around us to put the right thing in their minds as they are growing up. And
Yes.
don't tell your daughter everything you tell your daughter has to end in how they will be in their husband's side. Now,
Yeah.
African mothers don't have that line. Is this what you do when you get to your husband's side? That kind of thing. And the girl grows up with, okay,
With that
everything I'm
mindset
ever
of
doing
wanting to
has
please
to be,
men and all that.
yeah, has to be trying to please me. And
Yeah.
it's no, okay. So I think from there it actually now graduates to every other aspect. educational, economy, even in politics. See women. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the new president of Tanzania after the the most recent one just passed some days ago, and the
Okay.
new one now is a woman,
Oh
and
wow, I
all
didn't
over
know
the
that. That's
internet. Yeah, I think
amazing.
his vice is now the new president of Tanzania, and in different
Oh
other aspects. I
wow.
mean, look at the vice president of of America, United States of America. So
Yeah.
women are coming up in politics, and it's actually a good thing for the younger generation. We see these people because before you don't see women in these kind of positions, and we
Yes.
always feel we don't have a place there. But thankfully, the story is changing, the narrative is
Yes,
changing.
the narrative is changing, and for the younger, generations, younger generations, and then the generations to come, there are more
Yeah,
examples of female leaders. You know,
exactly.
yeah.
It's actually
I also would like to, kind of hammer on education, because even in
Mhm.
Nigeria that we are, it's like you would hear that women are the ones, like men are the ones that should go to school, even though supposedly we are a developing country, and that has been abolished. But in some households you still see that, where they maybe because of finances or something,
Mhm.
it's the male children that are being trained, and then the female children are being
I just
prepared
left to stay
for.
at home and prepared to go to their husband's house.
Yes, and it happens, like, in Africa and a lot of developing countries, we still see this. And this is not helping the girl child,
It's
because
not
giving education, that's the right and the power of knowledge that empowers you as a person.
as a person, yes.
It does, and then you are able to, from there you can form yourself, build yourself, and then you'll be able to do what you want to do and just excel in whatever field. So it's
Mhm.
important that we just create awareness around education for the girl child.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, education, the importance can't be overemphasized. It's very important for everybody, and not having that has already limited you in a whole lot of aspects, a whole lot of areas. So,
Yeah.
and now being in a situation where, well, the boy goes to school and the girl is left. When there is financial difficulties or things like that with a family, it's still the same mindset that makes them make that kind of choice. Okay, let's send the boys to school and
Yeah.
with the little that we have, and then leave the girls behind. I feel like there should be better ways to make those kind of decisions when it
Yes.
comes to, instead of just making it gender based.
Yes, I think it should just be about maybe the capacity of the child. It's already a horrible situation that the average Nigerian lives below $1. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, you can imagine where families that will have to do that. So, like, the idea is to, apart from the fact that there are a lot of scholarship schemes and all that, coming up, and you see a
Coming up.
lot of organizations really, pushing to make the state of the country better, you know but like in a scenario where we don't have that, I think we should create awareness on the fact that the people that should be sent to school, maybe for example, like to help their family out of that financial situation, should be the most capable child, not
Yes.
just a gender thing. So
Gender based.
we should pick people based on the value they bring, the value they can offer, not just because they are male or female.
Yeah. And also place emphasis on the fact that I mean, adult education is it's also coming up now. So that the child wasn't able, or maybe that their parents weren't able to send them to school when they were little, doesn't mean that they can't
They
still
can't
go back to
go.
school
Yes.
later. Yes,
Yes, that
because
is
so
that
that
that is very
you
true.
take away that handicap that comes from not getting an education from a child's life.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's really important. So we're going to talk about the barriers to women empowerment, and I feel like we this financial instability issue is already one of it, because
Yes.
like we just mentioned. So what other barriers do you think we'll have to deal with
Another
when we're talking about
another
women empowerment?
barrier, I think, is fear of not being enough. You've gotten your education, you have a master's, you're doing well, and then they bring you to the table where you should deliver, and you feel like you are not meant to be there because you are not used to seeing people being
People
there.
like you in there. Yeah.
So I feel like that really limits us. It limits everybody. So I'm not saying men don't get afraid, but I'm just saying like it's more for women, especially when they are brought to tables where, like, you have more men. Maybe you can have, like, in a board of directors or something, you can have like 10 men and one female.
One female.
Like that type of thing. So I feel like it really limits us, and then that lack of confidence in ourselves, in our capabilities, that really limits us, because we may have everything, but that psychological empowerment is not
It's not
total.
there. Mm-hmm.
It's not, it may be little, but you understand what I mean.
Yes,
So
yes.
I really feel like that's a barrier. And then another thing too, I think is a barrier, will be, how do I coin this? I don't know how to coin it, so let me just explain.
Yeah.
Women are always asking for a seat at the table. They're always saying, there should be representation at every sector and everything, but you don't
Mm-hmm.
prepare yourself to
To
be
be
in that
there.
seat. So you want to be an economic leader, for example, but you don't have the capability, you don't have the capacity, you're not ready to
Yeah.
build yourself to that point that you'll be able to function efficiently in that space. So you're
Wow.
asking for a seat at the table, but when it is given to you, you don't deliver. You are mute. Your perspective, your opinions are still not heard. So you're like a figurehead there, and it is still the same thing. Nothing has really changed. So I think,
Yeah.
we need to have that drive and that go-getting spirit that would help us compete. Because what we're asking for is equal opportunities, really. Just
Exactly.
give me the opportunity, not because I'm male, not because I'm
Not because
female,
I'm female.
because of the value I can bring. And when we get there, like, do we have the value to bring?
To bring, yeah.
So, like, I hear we women, we always want a seat at the table. We always advocate for it. But when we are given, can we handle it? Can we perform? I feel that's a major
That's
barrier.
another barrier, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's actually a problem in the sense that sometimes when that happens, then everybody around will judge the case as it because it's a woman, you
Yeah.
understand? And
Yeah.
because they already have this preconceived idea that a woman will probably not do well here, and then
Mm-hmm.
when I get there, I don't disappoint. Like, I give them what they were expecting for me to fail, and then they say, yeah, we
Yeah.
said it's the woman. So I
Yeah.
feel like women, we should have that. There's already a bias in the system. So
Mm-hmm.
when we're trying to make it balanced. So whenever I have the opportunity, when you have the opportunity to be at the table to represent at any place, then put your best foot forward, build capacity, so that when you get there, you will be able to represent. Because when you
Yeah.
fail, they won't say you failed, they'll say it's women. I feel like we should have that understanding. Because if a
Yeah.
man is in this position, and I mean, let's take Buhari for an example. Nobody's going to say men are terrible presidents because Buhari
Mm-hmm.
is not doing well. But if it's a woman that is messing Nigeria up like this, they are going to say, yeah, it's a woman that they can't do anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's already that bias, and we have to. We should let ourselves know that since we're trying to advocate for this, make this something that let's balance this situation. We have a lot more work to do instead of just talking about it. We have to build
Yes.
ourselves
We
to
have to
actually
build
show the
ourselves.
world that this thing we're asking for, we're capable of doing it, or we're
Yeah.
capable of handling it.
Yes. That I totally agree 100%.
Yeah. And there is something I read sometime talking about, when we're talking about empowerment, it's not usually about. I think it works best when you empower yourself than I don't know how to explain it. Like, um it's something you must acquire by yourself rather than having it being given to you by an external
Mm,
party. I don't know if that makes
mm.
sense. So if
Yes,
we're sitting and waiting for us to be given a seat at the table, and someone says, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair, something like that. Put yourself
definitely.
up there, walk to get up to
Yeah,
that place. Don't wait for it to be handed over to you, because if it's
because
handed over
really
to you, it
it
can
will
easily be
not be
taken
handed.
away from you.
It won't even be handed.
Exactly.
That's actually
So,
the
I
truth.
mean,
You
not
have to
we've
take
not
that
we didn't
place.
get to where we are today by women just sitting and waiting for things to be done. Women took up the authority, and they took the stand, and they did what they had to do. That's why
Yeah,
we've progressed this far. And in this generation, we too have to continue to build capacity so that to make it better for the generation that is coming after us. Nobody ever
definitely.
gives the marginalized anything on a platter of gold. They have to show that they want this. They have to work towards it.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%.
All right.
I
So
agree.
we've really talked a lot. I didn't know we'll be talking for this long, but there is one more important point that I really want us to buttress, and the fact that it's actually a problem. It bothers me because I see it around and I hear people talk about it. The fact that religion um it's one of the things that put women down. But then
Hmm.
when I'm a Christian, and I don't take Christianity as just a religion. When I look at the intricacies of Christianity and the teachings of Jesus, I look at it and I look at our world today, and I see this is actually even in God's plan. It was never in his plan for the woman to be at the background. So what
Yeah.
can you say about this when we're talking from the light of Christianity?
Hmm.
Does it really put women down as people believe?
Well, I would say that religion as a concept is man-made, you know, and anything
Mm-hmm.
that's man-made will always have a bias. And in this
Mm-hmm.
case, there is a bias against women. And sometimes I used to think that, or I have this thought that if things were turned, like if tables were turned and women were the ones, running things in the world,
Mm-hmm.
men will be asking for a seat at the table. This is because the innate nature of man is selfish
Yes.
and will always want to favor things that
I
would
felt.
benefit them. So, that's why we have this male female thing. Men were the ones running things. So they were making laws that favored men,
Mm-hmm.
creating traditions that favored men. It's the
Yes.
same thing with religion because it's human beings that are in the religious sector. But talking about the teachings of Jesus, I'm a Christian, and I feel like I don't think God wants me to just be in the background. He put things in me to
Of course.
express.
Express.
So
Yeah.
I don't think he just limited me to just being validated by the presence of a man in my
Okay,
life, be it
man.
a father, a brother, a husband, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So although the world is telling me different, so in this aspect, I'm really still growing. I have a lot of questions. I don't think Christianity as a lifestyle promotes any form of inequality because
Yeah.
we were all made by God's spirit,
We're all
and
made in
and
his
we just
image.
have different containers that we exist as, but our spirits still belong to God, and we are
Mm-hmm.
both answerable to God. So I,
Yeah.
I I I think that's equality already in itself. There's no difference, male and female,
Female and
black or
female
white.
before God. Yeah.
There's really no difference before God. But religion, which is technically where the practice of Christianity falls under, which is run by humans, has actually even added to the problem of inequality.
Of
Because
inequality.
you would see that when you have a female religious leader or something, there's so much backlash from the congregation. And then we wonder what is really wrong, because this should be the model. This should be the place where the model practice is practiced. you know so like
Yeah.
I think that God, so in God's eyes we are equal, but because it's a
Mm-hmm.
broken world, we see these
We
things.
see.
So yeah, I really think that the religious setting plays a major role in the sidelining of women in leadership and in general.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
Well,
think.
when we talk about the teachings of Jesus, like I mean, Jesus is the best thing that has happened to humanity, and he through his teachings and right from the beginning, even in Genesis, we were told that God created male and female. He created us all in His image,
Yeah,
and through Scripture, we see the fact that we're all equal before God. There is no race, there is no gender, there is no nothing, there is
yeah,
no divide anywhere. As long
yeah,
as God is concerned, and Jesus has taught us that we are all sons of God. We have the Spirit of
yeah,
God in us,
yeah,
and He has put in us a purpose to achieve. Everybody according to your own capability, whether you're male
exactly.
or female. I think that is what, like you said, it's a broken world, and until we come to that realization, we have come to actually open our heart for the Spirit of God to teach us what God has had in mind from the very beginning, then we'll keep getting it wrong.
Yeah,
And when people are talking about, when we bring up this issue, and even some people, okay, maybe for religious leaders or people, religious people, talking about women not talking about all this and we're trying to. I heard something recently about trying to, like, say, not do it the way God has planned it, and then I'm like, okay, what exactly is the way God has is God planned
exactly.
for
They
you
should
to
tell
put
us
the
so that we
woman
would
under your
know.
feet? I mean,
Mm,
but I mean, when we're talking about marriage, is a different thing. God has an order and authority in marriage, but then as humans, as male and female, that God has created in His
yeah.
image and for His purpose, He's not putting anybody less than anybody in any way.
Yes.
And
And
Jesus tried to
I just
to
want to
balance
add
that out.
something. I just want to add
Yeah.
something to what you just said about, how it is supposed to be. You know,
Mhm. Yeah.
I remember Paul's teachings where he said women should submit to their husbands, not to men. So I'm not
Okay.
submitting as a Christian
As a
wife.
Christian, yes,
I am not submitting to men. I
to
am
men, but to
submitting
your
to
own
my
husband.
husband
Exactly.
that I have chosen. I
Exactly.
choose who to submit to. So men don't have the
That's
right to
where a lot
do
of
that.
people actually miss out, because
Yeah.
I think I've said this to a couple of people when we're talking about this. That I mean, God only puts a woman under her husband, not under
Yeah.
men.
Yeah.
But people don't get that. They just assume it's an understanding that we all actually have to get to. I mean, Jesus
Yeah.
had a lot of women that worked with him during his earthly ministry, and
Yeah.
he didn't look down on any of them. I mean, they were actually one of the most important people in his ministry. So
Yeah.
why do we think we can look down on women on the basis of religion? That is actually countering what Christ had come to do.
Exactly.
Right. So I think we've talked about most of the things I had in mind. I mean, it's a broad topic. Hopefully, we'll get better in doing better as time goes on.
Yeah. We
So
will. I'm
yeah,
I'm hopeful for the world when it comes
yeah,
to empowering women and just reducing that divide truly, because it's
yeah,
really a problem, a very big problem.
yeah. I'm really hopeful. Well, we'll have to keep doing what we'll be doing. We'll keep advocating. We'll keep doing better. We'll keep empowering through education, through awareness, letting women know that they can be more than they've been taught to think.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
that yeah.
That that's the only thing we can do right now.
Yeah, I'm
And
praying that
exist
God will change the
as
hearts of men.
and exist as empowered women, so other
Yes,
women can
live
see
as
that it's
empowered women.
possible. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you so much, from Irene. I'm so grateful
Thank you very much for
for,
having me.
yeah. So till next time, hopefully we'll have you back to do more justice to some things. Or I mean, your capacity
Okay,
is
I would
large.
love to
I mean,
take part.
all right. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.